Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. It's time for another episode of Old Farts Watching Anime. And yeah, we're doing it. We're going with Sailor Moon. Because it is an undeniably huge part of the anime history. Everybody remembers Sailor Moon. I've never seen it myself, so this will be kind of an interesting experiment for me. I remember being huge back in the day. I know they've recently rebooted it as well. So something that major, we gotta talk about that on Old Farts Watching Anime. And we're gonna. I vaguely know some of these characters. I don't really know some of the others. So I'm hoping the very first episode is going to reveal what all this stuff is about. Because to me, it just looks crazy. And I'm looking forward to finding out more. So let's give it a shot.
Today only, everything in the store is 90% off. Please feel free to try on anything.
So they're gonna work their evil ways by selling jewelry.
Surrender your frantic energy to Queen Beryl and the Negaforce. But I am Morga.
Okay, so the lady who's the villain's dude who works for her, this lady works for that dude, and they're selling jewelry. Okay, I think I'm with it so far.
You have done well, Morga.
Oh no, how can I tell Mom I flunked another test? How can I show her this thing?
Hey, watch it, meatball head.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
A 30 admirable.
No!
Are you stupid or just incredibly lazy?
How dare you give me that? The nerve of that guy. What a total jerk calling me a meatball head still. He sure is cute.
Now call me crazy, but I have a feeling these two are gonna work together for a while. Okay, well there we go. The very first episode of Sailor Moon. Birth of a Moon Star, I think it was called. Well, let's see. Observations. There weren't any other sailors. It was just Sailor Moon, so that was kind of interesting. Guess that makes sense. I mean, if you're going to be in a 22-minute long cartoon, if you're going to be introducing this very strange story, you want to just concentrate on your main character for the beginning part. So, very haphazardly kind of thrown together. Like, it's just weird that the voices sometimes are overlapping each other. I remember that back in the 90s when this first aired. I just thought, why don't they let the other person finish their sentence? But whatever. And of course, I'm sure a lot of anime has this, but this is the first cartoon I ever saw with like the giant teardrop on the face to indicate I am sad. So, very strange. Story-wise, okay, so they're going to be taking over the world through jewelry is kind of a neat, wacky kind of a thing. All right, sure. I don't know. It's I got all kinds of different thoughts about it. What about you? What's your thought, Dee?
Okay, I have to admit that the fact in my 20s I did actually watch Sailor Moon. And oh my god, so whiny! So whiny.
Very true. So yeah, I agree. Definitely a very whiny character. Very kind of left, right, and center all the time, juggling multiple things. And maybe that was part of the appeal. Maybe people liked that because it was different at that time. You didn't have characters like that as your lead for any shows. So maybe that was what was part of the appeal. It was something different, something new. Not sure.
Well, it's just the emotions are up and down, up and down, up and down, and then of course the whole I'm boy crazy.
I never understood, like, in the later episodes, Tuxedo Mask would show up every once in a while, and I had thought, okay, he's obviously been established as some heartthrob Zorro guy. And here we are watching the very first episode, and he's there from day one as this heartthrob Zorro guy. But I don't really know. Like, do they explain later anything about his background? Is he a mystery?
Oh, I can't remember.
Kind of a guy? Interesting thing about the talking cats. Now, what I don't get is, so the former sort of more elderly or mature sailor goddess lady in the opening is looking for a chosen one to carry on, so she sends these cats out, and because, is it Luna is Sailor Moon's cat?
Yes.
So, yeah. Because she's got a Band-Aid on her forehead, and Serena pulls that off, she decides, oh, you're compassionate and you're the chosen one. And she says later, like, it wasn't just the Band-Aid. She's actually followed her exploits for the last 17 minutes and has decided that you are the chosen one. And it seems like very random stuff, but I will totally give credit to the story. Then... when the shoppers in the diamond store are all turning into these strange zombie-like antagonists who are coming after her, Luna tells Sailor Moon to pull off her tiara and, say the magic words and throw it. And she does so with conviction, and the magic ends up saving the day. And it's kind of, it's interesting. There are some very interesting kind of, almost redeeming qualities to counter the strange scatterbrain elements that go on with the talking over each other and the random emotional compass going on. She does then speak with authority in certain scenes. It's like this early channeling of, okay, I'm sometimes this crazy little schoolgirl, but I'm also this hero. And I thought they did a nice job of kind of introducing that. I mean, do you think I'm kind of right or wrong with that? Or?
No, I think that, as they kept on saying, go with your heart, go with your heart. And I think that, when she starts to speak the words and everything, that, the inner power comes out. Mm-hmm. But I think that, she's, an unsure teenager, to begin with and everything. But what I'd like to know is, if I had a tiara and I said those words, would I be able to get rid of evil as well?
We could try. I'm sure they sell them in reproduction and cosplay stores and stuff.
We should then. Right. What about if you would you if you wore a tiara and said those magic words? Would that happen too?
Tiaras don't really work on me.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I found really funny at the end of the video. Now I'm thinking this is very much a North American thing. It was that time in the 90s and certainly from the mid-80s as well with like the G.I. Joe, knowing is half the battle kind of community service announcement message at the end. There was that little bit that they stuck in there where she said, all you have to do is believe in yourself and you can accomplish anything, which I think is a great message to give kids, especially girls who would be following the show. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
But it does, you don't see that in cartoons anymore, and I wonder if the original anime out of Japan had something like that. Like that seemed kind of tacked on for the North American audience, much like the old Gatchaman conversation we had with the first episode. It's kind of like this. This doesn't seem to fit the rest of the cartoon. I wonder if they did it because that was all the fad back in those days.
Possibly, yeah. They kind of had to drive home the point.
Mm-hmm. Could be. But yeah, I still don't understand the vast majority of the story, but it was fun to get there, to do Sailor Moon, to tick that box. If we had more opportunities in this series of watching anime, to watch more of them, it would be interesting to learn more about how did this other sailors show up and what happens and how does she take on the main villain lady and that dude that we saw earlier. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as I remember, the other sailor kids were a lot more mature than Sailor Moon was herself. Yeah. And kind of balanced her out in a way. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess no real conclusion to draw, but it's been fun to get that one in there and watch that. That's an example of the many kinds of anime that we're going to check out in this series. So I guess we'll just wrap it up there, and I'll just say we'll see you down the rabbit hole.
See ya.